By the end of 2025, professional stock car racing was bleeding viewers. The sport had drifted from its roots, prioritizing manufactured drama over pure racing, and the audience was tuning out. Under the hood, the cars were capped at 670 horsepower. On shorter tracks, the tires were glued to the pavement. Drivers could run full throttle through the corners, making green flag passing nearly impossible and the races stagnant. You can see the remnants of that old era painted right on the track. The elimination playoff system guaranteed a postseason spot to anyone who managed a single lucky win. It then knocked drivers out in randomized elimination rounds, frequently punishing the most consistent competitors of the year. The garage area and the grandstands eventually reached a breaking point. Drivers voiced their frustration with the lack of throttle control, and fans demanded a return to racing where the fastest driver actually wins. So the governing body tore the rulebook down to the studs. The win and you're in automatic bids were scrapped, and the elimination bracket was entirely dismantled. In 2026, the sport returns to its rawest state. By stripping away the entertainment gimmicks, NASCAR forces its best drivers back into a high-speed war of attrition. To accomplish that, the sport introduced a two-front war. Drivers now have to survive a complete rewrite of both the mechanical physics of the cars and the mathematics of the championship standings. Every new rule functions as a direct physical or mental threat. They are filters designed to aggressively weed out competitors who lack total control over their machines. Conquering this setup requires a highly specific profile. A driver has to blend brutal on-track aggression with flawless week-to-week consistency. Luck is no longer a viable strategy. With these changes, the season becomes a 36-week trial, and success depends on surviving the most physically demanding schedule in professional racing. Looking at the side profile of the next-gen car, you can see the baseline machine teams had to modify. Mastering this heavily revised vehicle is the first major hurdle. By installing a larger tapered spacer on the intake manifold, a component that regulates the amount of air entering the engine, officials opened up the airflow. On short tracks and road courses, these blocks now unleash a violent 750 horsepower. That power is paired with a tiny 3-inch rear spoiler. Less surface area on the spoiler means less aerodynamic force pushing the back tires into the track, making the cars terrifyingly loose and difficult to hold in a straight line. Drivers can no longer run flat out. They have to lift off the throttle in the corners, feathering the pedal to manage severe tire degradation, keeping the rubber from burning up, while preventing the back end from snapping around. With that much instability, spins are inevitable. To keep these overpowered machines from taking flight during a high-speed slide, mandatory A-post flaps next to the windshield now pop up to counteract aerodynamic lift. Before a driver can even think about championship points, they have to prove they can physically survive driving the machine itself. If they can control the car, they hit the second hurdle, the resurrection of the chase and the unforgiving mathematics of the new 10-race format. A single lucky regular season win no longer guarantees a spot in the postseason. The automatic bid is dead. As this grid illustrates, the qualification metric is ruthless. Only the top 16 drivers with the most regular season points survive the cut. Once locked in, points reset. The top seed begins the chase with 2,100 points, while the rest receive descending 5-point deficits. To push drivers, a victory is now rewarded with 55 points. This heavily skews the math, allowing absolute aggression to erase a major deficit. There are no eliminations, there are no points resets, and there is no single race finale. The chase is a brutal 10-week war of attrition, where every single position matters. We are already seeing the impact on the track. The combination of 750 horsepower and the math of the chase is violently separating elite talent from the rest of the pack. Inside the garage, there is operational panic. Teams are scrambling, testing completely new setups to find the sweet spot for the revised aerodynamic profile. Even established veterans are fighting just to keep these overpowered, loose race cars out of the outside wall. NASCAR has removed the safety nets that defined the playoff era. Now, with the horsepower back and the points harder to earn, drivers are left to rely entirely on raw car control. Winning the Bill France Cup no longer depends on a well-timed caution flag at the end of a knockout round. Claiming the title now requires mastery of 750 horsepower and 10 weeks of mistake-free execution against the most aggressive field in the world. This is the Silver NASCAR Cup Series Championship Trophy, waiting at the end of the season at Homestead-Miami, where the ultimate survivor will finally be crowned. Whoever hoists that cup won't have relied on a lucky break. They will have survived the physics of the car and the math of the standings, earning the most authentic, organically claimed championship in a generation.